Reading Music, Part 1 by Jeff Simpson, MasteryLearningSystems.com. In this video, you'll learn about line notes and space notes, 5-line staff, letter names, treble clef, bass clef, alto clef, and ledger lines. These are called line notes. Those little round things are notes because the lines go through the notes. See how they go right through the middle of the note. These are called space notes because they are in the spaces between the lines. Here are 5 lines. This is called a 5-line staff. Staff. The 5-line staff is down low. Now the 5-line staff is up high. There's a staff below and a staff above. The top staff and the bottom staff have moved closer together. There are 10 lines altogether. 5 down below and 5 up above makes 10. Another line is added between the top staff and the bottom staff. There it is, right in the middle. Now, there are 11 lines. All the lines are the same distance apart. Here are 5 line notes. This note is on the top line. This note is on the bottom line. Here's one on the middle line, on the next to the top line, on the next to the bottom line. It's easy to tell which line the note is on. You don't even have to count. Bottom line, next to the bottom, middle, next to the top, top, next to the top, middle, next to the bottom, bottom, next to the top, next to the bottom, middle, bottom, top. Those are the line notes. This note is in the bottom space. You can also call it the first space. Here's one in the top space, in the next to the bottom space, and the next to the top space. It's easy to tell which space the note is in. You don't even have to count. There it is in the bottom space. Next to the bottom, next to the top. Top space. Next to the top, next to the bottom. Bottom space, top space. Next to the bottom, next to the top. Bottom. Here are 4 space notes mixed with 3 line notes. Now they get moved together, and you can see they go straight up in a line. Space, line, space, line, space, line, space. The notes are named after the letters of the alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. The notes have been moved to the left. The notes and lines have been moved down. More lines have been added. The same 7 letters are used again, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and again, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. As the notes go up and up, the sound gets higher and higher, like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, like that. If you take out the middle line, you can see there are 5 lines below and 5 lines above. Taking away the line in the middle makes it easier to see the upper staff and the lower staff. The lowest space note in the bottom staff is A. The top line note of the bottom staff is also A. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then the next note would be A. why is the low A a space note, but the high A is a line note? It is because there are 7 notes, A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 7 is an odd number. So the first A is a space note, and the next A up is a line note. Seven is an odd number, but spaceline is an even system, and the even and odd don't go together. Notice the next A is a space note. Here comes the top A. Yep. So the bottom A is a space note. The next A is a line note, and then the one that's highest in this picture is a space note again. Space, line, space, and they're all A's. In the space above the bottom staff is B. We take away the other notes. You can see there's B in the space just above the bottom staff. On the line in the middle between the staffs, here's the line in the middle, is the note C. Let's take away the other ones, and there's C left there in the middle. In fact, it's called middle C. From middle C downwards are the low notes. From middle C upwards are the high notes. Middle C is a very high low note. So here's a bunch of low notes, and C is the top of those low notes. But middle C is also a very low high note. So here's a bunch of high notes, and when we get to the bottom of the high notes, there it is, middle C. It's a low high note. The low notes are sung by men with low voices, played by the left hand on the piano. The low notes are played by the cello and the bass, played by the trombone and tuba, and other instruments as well. This sign, called the bass clef, is placed at the front of the staff for the low notes. When you see that, you know you're looking at the set of low notes. The high notes are sung by people with high voices, women, children, some men with very high voices also. High notes are also played by the right hand on the piano. And the high notes are played by the violin and the flute, by the trumpet and the saxophone, and other instruments as well. This sign, called the treble clef, is placed at the front of the staff for the high notes. That's the treble clef sign. Piano music looks like this. The left hand plays the bass clef notes, those are the ones on the bottom, and the right hand plays the treble clef notes, those are the ones on top. A is the first space of the bass clef, and A is in the second space of the treble clef. Too bad both A's are not in the same place. It would make them so much easier to remember. Oh well. Sometimes the two clefs are moved farther apart from each other. When the staves are moved apart, middle C can go with either clef, either the top or the bottom. When the staves are moved apart, there's room for the words of a song in between. More notes can be added above or below either clef by using ledger lines. So look at on the far right at the top, here's a ledger line being added, and the B just above it. That's a space note. Now ABC should be a line note, so we add a line, another line, and put C as a line note there. Now look way down at the bottom on the left, just below middle C, below the line is B. A, just below that, should be a line note, so we add a line, another line, and there's A. You can even go lower than A and do a low G. That's the lowest note that a violin can play. There's also a special clef for notes that are not high and not low, but in the middle, centering on middle C. The line for middle C is put back in. There it is, line's put back in the middle. And the top three lines and the bottom three lines are removed, leaving just the 5 lines in the middle. A different clef is used for these notes in the alto range. It's called the alto clef. So there's that middle line for middle C. And here is the alto clef. Alto clef notes are played by the viola, which is a little bit bigger than a violin. The alto clef is also called the C-clef because it actually is a very fancy letter C. You'd never know it to look at it. And it's pointing to the line that C is on. See how those go with each other? Now the treble clef, these are the high notes. The treble clef is also called the G-clef because in reality it is a very fancy letter G. And it points to the line that G is on. The bass clef, that's the low notes, is also called the F-clef because it is a very fancy letter F pointing to the line that F is on. Well, that's your introduction to how musical notes are written. Please share this video with other people who can benefit from it. And thanks for watching.